Welcome to On the Sidelines, the show that discusses sports and how sports intersects our lives. I'm your host, Paul McGrath, and I'm glad that you can join us for this show. And this is a special anniversary show dating back to June 15th, 1991. For on this day, 30 years ago, the Westborough High School Baseball team won the Division II state championship. I am glad to have Steve DeBoer and Mike Colangelo, members of the team, join us to reminisce about this hard-earned team championship. Steve and Michael, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you. Thanks for having us, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, good to have you guys. I've done a little homework, and the year before, Westborough High won the Mid-Watch Championship. We're in the playoffs, but didn't quite make it. So I assume for those returning, the thought was you should have a pretty good year. Was that the thought at the beginning before you even played a game?
Well, I remember that year in 1990, it was a lot of seniors, a good group of seniors, and I actually thought a little differently. I thought that some of those guys that had graduated, it would be a little bit of a challenge, but we did have a good core of kids that were back that maybe hadn't, proven themselves as much as those older guys had. But and that was kind of my thought. I don't know what you remember, Mike.
Yeah, we lost some really key seniors like Sean Sprague, Neil Montgomery, Matt Sandock, and Mike Pearson in particular, along with some others. So yeah, we had some big holes to fill, but we were pretty confident.
Well, you're ready to go. I'm going to start off here reading. I'm going to go through the first 8 games quickly. You start off with Auburn, who was a nemesis of yours, and you lose 9-6. Fitchburg, you're up at Fitchburg. You're ahead, but you end up losing 10-9. Then you had a win against Algonquin. And then you lose to Wachusett 7-5. You lose to Shrewsbury 5-2. And then you have a home game against Milford, and the final score was 23-0.
Yeah.
And then you won a game and lost a game. So you're sitting there 2-6. Any thoughts at that point in time? Is it time to go fishing? What were your thoughts at that particular time? Do either one of you remember that?
I think it was one of those things that we were playing a pretty tough schedule. All those teams that you named, I think most of them are Division I. Wachusett, really good. Milford, really good. Definitely a challenge playing some of those teams that were ahead of us. But once we were able to get back into our league and play some of those teams, that was something that was a positive, because I think and it may still be the same, that if you finished first or second in your league, you qualified for the districts. So if we were able to do that and get on a little bit of a run there and do well in the league, that's kind of what I remember.
Well, that's exactly what happened, because after that, you almost ran the table, and you go from 2-6 to finish the season 14-7. So it was quite a run after that. One of the big games I have here, put you on the spot a little bit, Steve, is on, let's see, what's the date here? Neshoba. You played Neshoba early in the season, and they defeated you 9-7 at home. And then on May 13th, the team travels to Neshoba, and Steve, you threw a no-hitter. I mean, that was, not only did you defeat them, but you came back, and if I read the write-up correctly, I think the only base runner reached on an error. You must remember that game.
I do, yeah. One of those things where you just have to be really lucky to have that happen, and the guys behind you have to make the plays to allow that process to continue. I think it may have been the first or second hitter that reached, And then if I remember right, Jeff Calhoun, the catcher, threw the kid out trying to steal. And after that, I think that was it. We just kept rolling, and guys were making plays and making pitches. And, in the end, it turned out to be a pretty good day for us.
Well, I guess it did. And so that means you faced the minimum number of batters if Jeff threw out the runner.
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's pretty good. I know, Mike, you were talking about one game you felt bad because you had to leave early to get ready for a church or what. Can you just give us a story on that one?
Sure. That was the Fitchburg game where we were winning 9-2 and we ended up losing 10-9. I was playing in that game and I had to actually go to confirmation rehearsal. There were a couple others on the team, Mike Fallon and Ryan Valley, who also went. And I just remember leaving thinking, we got this game in the bag, and couldn't believe when I found out we lost the game. So yeah, that was a real tough one.
I remember that one hurting. It was kind of wasn't the last inning that they had? They scored at the very last inning to win it.
Yeah.
One of those. Yeah.
I had to refresh my memory, but I think they hit a grand slam in the last inning to win the game or something.
Wow. Yeah. I remember that one stinging a little bit. It's a long bus ride home too, from Fitchburg.
Yeah. That was a tough one. Yeah.
Well, Michael, I guess we can say God rewarded you in the end for being a good boy.
Yeah.
So it all pays off in the end. So we go 14-7, and we've got to we get into the districts. In order to win the championship, we have to win 5 games. The first one we're playing Keefe Tech, and I'm just going to read. Just so it happens we have you two. I'm going to read the first paragraph of the story. It says, Mike Colangelo singled home 2 runs in the top of the 7th inning, and reliever Steve DeBoer pitched 1-2-3 ninth as Westborough defeated Keefe Tech 4-3 in the quarterfinals of the District E Division II tournament. Pretty good start, and we just happen to have you two guys, so that article couldn't have been better. Remember the first game at all, guys?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, it was a tight game. Keefe Tech played us really tough, and it was just a nail biter. And, we had to put in everything we had just to beat them. Very exciting game.
Yeah, I remember it that way too. And, that first round, maybe things were a little, tight for us or nervous. And, the tournament's one and done. So if you don't happen to play good on a particular day, then that's it. But I do remember coming in from right field and getting the call, and pretty excited to be able to be in that situation to try and help the team win. And luckily we did. And then from there, things started to roll, I think.
Well, I think they did, because you the next game was at Holy Cross. You defeated Worcester Oak 9-5. And then you came to your nemesis. You had to play Auburn, but out in Holyoke. They were the team that beat you the prior year. You had lost to them in the first game of the season, and you beat them 14-4. You took no prisoners.
Yeah, I think that game was at Holy Cross.
That game was at Holy Cross. The Worcester Oak game actually wasn't at Holy Cross. That was at a different field than Worcester.
Foley Field.
Oh, I see, yeah.
That, first of all, playing at Holy Cross, I think, was pretty awesome. I don't know about you, Mike, but that was, probably the nicest field that we had played on all year. And one of those games, again, where, you kind of open up a can and put some runs on the board and put the pressure on the other team. And, we just kept the pressure on and were able to score a bunch of runs. What was the final?
14-4.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I might have the wrong field. I think I got the right score though.
Yeah,
that was. I do remember just putting the pressure on and scoring a bunch of runs and putting it on them.
Great to beat Auburn because they were tough and they gave us fits. They knocked us out of the districts the year before. The year after this season, we won the state title. They also knocked us out of the districts.
Yep.
So, we had a pretty good rivalry with them. So it was nice to come out on top.
Yeah. And so then you're playing Waucona Regional. And so I had to look up Waucona. You were playing them. And Waucona is out in Dalton, Massachusetts, way out west there. And I don't know if you ever heard of Dalton, Mass., but it was the home of Jeff Reardon, who was a major league pitcher from 1979 to 1994. He had 367 saves, played with the Boston Red Sox from 1990 to 92. Dan Duquette, who was the general manager of the Red Sox, he came from Dalton, Massachusetts. And then there was a fellow by the name of Turk Wendell, who pitched in the National League for 552 games from 1993 to 2004. So for a town of Dalton and a regional high Waucona, they were pretty baseball savvy. And here you are playing Waucona, and you had to beat them to get to the championship game.
Yeah, I do remember we also played them in basketball that winter, spring in the state semifinal, and they beat us. And we had a pretty good basketball team that year too. And we felt pretty confident going into that game and ended up getting beat. So I remember, being a part of that basketball team and having the chance to face them again in basically the same game, the state semifinal. It was a chance to get a little bit of payback, and not that you need a whole lot of motivation at that point. You're closer and closer to reaching that state final, but to see them as the opponent, for me personally, it was a little extra kick to try and give them a little bit of payback.
Well, you did give them some payback. You won, and that meant you were going to go to the state championship game. Let me read something before we get to the game. This is in the newspaper talking about your co-captain, Rob Pano. Of course, your other co-captain was Craig Nigerian. Both of them they were captains. They had great years. And it was talking about the inspiration for Rob Pano. And it says, unfortunately for the Pano family, the source of the senior hurler's inspiration is no longer with them. 2 years ago, Pano was the Rangers' backup third baseman behind his older brother, Matt. Matt was no slouch when it came to fielding the hot corner, but Matt Pano lost the toughest battle of his life to spinal meningitis, and Rob was asked to fill a heartbreaking void in his personal and athletic experience. So I guess Rob Pano, the family, it was a tough time. Spinal meningitis, I know it's tough. I went through it when I was a kid too, and here he is. Do you remember Rob Pano and his brother at all? Or the brother, Matt?
He actually was friends with my brother, Matt was. And shortly before Matt got sick, my brother was with him. So he spent some of the last days together with Matt. And I don't know about you, Mike. I remember it being a pretty sad time to think that this kid who was a couple years older than us succumbed to this infection or whatever it is and died. And, never in a million years would you ever think something like that would happen.
Yeah, it was shocking. And I just remember for his funeral, like pretty much the whole school went. It was really tough.
Well, Rob and Craig Nigerian were your captains, and all of a sudden, you're in the state championship game against the Stoneham Warriors. And people may say, well, where's Stoneham? Well, if you get a map, I looked, it's east of Woburn and south of Reading. And it's a pretty good school. Athletes from Stoneham, Olympic skater Nancy Kerrigan is from Stoneham. And they had a fellow who graduated in 1988. His name was Joe Vitiello, and he started in the major leagues in 1995, and he played 7 years in the majors with the Kansas City Royals. So I guess and I believe Stoneham had a pretty good baseball team in those days. So you're coming up, I guess, a powerhouse, I guess. Okay. So let's see. One thing about being on a baseball team and looking at yearbooks is the baseball team never makes the yearbook. It's in the spring. Too late. You have to wait. So we're going to announce. We don't have the team picture right here, but I think we have something better. We're going to show each player so we remember who was on that team. And
oh my gosh!
The players. So get ready. Here we go.
This should be good.
This should be good. We're going to start with the sophomores. You had an outfielder, and he also caught a little bit, Brian Cusson. So he was one of your players. Next, we have a pitcher, also played a little bit of third base, a sophomore, Jared Leland. So those were your two sophomores on this team. Then you had a pretty good crop of juniors. Paul Baptiste, he was your third baseman, very good hitter. And then you had a fellow that played the outfield, also pitched a little by the name of Mike Colangelo. The best picture we could find, Mike. And it just so happens next is another pitcher outfielder, Steve DeBoer.
Look at that.
There we are.
Wow.
All good-looking guys here. We have another pitcher outfielder, junior, Mike Fallon, living out in Seattle now.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Next, we have a junior played second base, Ryan Valley. And going to go into the seniors now. Pitcher and outfielder, Tom Borghese. Let's see, next, our catcher, who we've talked about, Jeff Calhoun.
Yeah.
Pitcher first base, Jeff Cook. And we have your first baseman, Matt Moriarty, hard-hitting first baseman. And now we have your captains, second baseman, Craig Nigerian. And then we have pitcher outfielder, Rob Pano, who we've talked about. And last but not least, our shortstop, Mitch Samuel. And that's the team and the coach. Coach was Bob Poole. And we couldn't find a picture of your assistant coach, Tom Mason. But that's the cast of characters that was ready to take on Stoneham High.
That's a good way to put it, too. A cast of characters, some real personalities on the team there, if I remember right.
Okay, we'll jump in on these guys. We're going to show quite a bit, if we can.
Oh my gosh!
Of the game, and here's the starting fielders. You had in left field Tommy Borghese, Brian Cusson was out in center. Steve, you started out there in right field. Paul Baptiste, third base. Mitch Samuel, shortstop. Captain Craig Nigerian at second. Matt Moriarty on first. Rob Pano, who we've talked about, is your pitcher, and Jeff Calhoun was catching. So thanks to Nesson televised this game, had Dave Shea and Ronnie Perry Jr. on the call. So let's go over that.
Wow.
What's going on? We're in the top of the second inning, and Matt Moriarty had walked. Steve DeBoer had singled to right, so he had a couple on, and Brian Cusson stepped to the plate.
That brings up the center fielder, Brian Cusson.
I remember he was a pretty good athlete, pretty good hitter, left-hander. Football player too, wasn't he, Mike?
Yes. Excellent athlete.
Yep, definitely.
What we saw in the first inning, though, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bob Poole try to get DeBoer with some action towards second base, draw the throw. Cusson fouls it back. Good rip.
I can't tell you the last time I've seen footage of this. It's been a while. I don't know about you, Mike, but
yeah, it's been ages since I've seen this.
Yeah, I probably have the videotape somewhere.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Here in the second, soft breaking pitch missed inside, and it's 2-1. Moriarty, the runner down at third, with DeBoer over at first. DeBoer with the first hit of the ball game. Should be a good pitch to hit. It is, and he lines one in the gap.
There he goes, Cuss.
Nice. Is trying to make a shoestring. Is Cunningham, and he can't make it. One run will be in, and DeBoer, who had to hold pretty much halfway, gets into second base before the throw from Cunningham. So Westborough goes on top. 1-0, a base hit by Brian Cusson.
Okay, so Westborough goes up 1-0. Next, Paul Baptiste attempted a sacrifice bunt, but Steve DeBoer was thrown out at third. Tom Borghese fouled out to third base, and Mitch Samuel's walk to load the bases for Craig Nigerian.
Craig Nigerian, tough out. Bounced out to second his first time up. He is the man of the hour right now for Westborough with the bases full of 2 out, and he lines one to right field.
The Snick coming through.
That'll score 2. Headed over to third is Samuel. And a 2-out, 2-run single by Craig Nigerian gives Westborough a 3-0 lead.
He's a good player, Craig. Tough, competitive.
Now we've seen the batters so far in the first 2 innings looking over the pitcher's.
Yep, solid contact hitter, gobbled everything up at second base.
Yep. He played in college too, up at St. Anselm.
St. Anselm's. Yep.
Yep. Love Snick.
Just keeps his head and shoulders right in there and lines that ball down the right field line and grabs himself a big hit and a couple of RBIs.
So Custard and Baptiste score on the single by Nigerian. Samuel goes over to third, and with 2 out, the Rangers.
It's a good start we had going there.
Yeah, you did have a good start. 3 runs, 3 hits. The second inning, you're off to a good start. And they said the pitcher was Castle. Any scouting reports or thoughts on their pitcher that was the starter in the game?
I just remember statistically, I think he had a good year in Eastern Mass. And I don't think that day was his best because he ended up getting pulled, I think. Didn't he, Mike?
Yes.
But yeah, we were able to jump on top there, and it's always better to play from ahead than behind. That's for sure.
Especially
there was a lot of
championship game. Yeah,
there was a lot of talk about how talented this kid was, and I think most people are looking at us as big underdogs. So it's good to jump out early.
Yeah,
well, that you did, and we came to the next inning, the third inning. You're up 3-0. Rob Pano walked. And he ended up on third after stealing second and an error on the catcher's throw. So he gets on third. And Matt Moriarty singled in Pano to make it 4-0. So let's see what we got there.
Well, right now, Pano being watched closely. The bunt is foul tipped into the mid, and a high throw by Robinson into center field.
There he goes.
Pano will come all the way around to third.
That was a delayed steal that time, Dave. He didn't get the.
Matt was a pretty good player too. Good first baseman. That was the thing. We had right all around the infield. It was just so solid. Great defense, and all 4 of those spots were pretty solid.
Yeah, good pitching and a good defense will get you a long way.
And this clip here is a little example of how aggressive Coach Poole was. We were always bunting, stealing. The other team had to really be on their toes. So, fun style of baseball.
It was a delayed steal with the bunt attempt,
and it pays off as Moriarty singles sharply up the middle, and Pano comes across with the 4th Westborough run. 4-0 Rangers.
It was 4-0 at that point. Then Steve, you walked, and they brought in a new pitcher. You knocked the pitcher out. Fellow by the name of Bill Cunningham replaced starting pitcher Adam Castle to pitch to Brian Cusson, who struck out. But after he struck out, up came Paul Baptiste.
Walked the baseball.
There's a fly ball left field.
He had a lot of big hits, didn't he, Mike, during the run? He was a good hitter. Another good athlete.
Very good athlete, yep.
Football player. Did he play hockey with you, Mike, too?
Senior year he played hockey as well. So, yep.
Baptiste, it looked like Tasmanian was going to have time to get it and just died on it.
I believe Paul may have gone, I have to check my notes here. I think he may have gone 5 for 5 in that game. He had a big game.
Wow, yeah. He had a good run. I think he was hitting a little lower in the lineup and, got a lot of good pitches with guys on base and delivered, really. Had a good run.
He had a bunch of clutch hits in the districts.
Yep.
Yeah, that's when you want to be hot. We have Tom Borghese walk to load the bases, and Steve, you scored on a pass ball. That made it 6-0. And then we've got Mitch Samuel coming up again. Let's see what happened with Mitch.
2 and came back, went ahead, and had to come back again. Oh, there's the
squeeze. Works.
Like you said, Mike, the bunt there to get the run home. Classic Coach Poole baseball there.
Going down to second is Borghese.
Yeah, he laid the bunt down. It was a beautiful bunt, and those. Now, did you remember suicide squeezes, or were they the safety squeeze? Any recollection there?
I think that one was more of a safety, just by the looks. I don't remember at the time. I don't know about you, Mike, but it looks more of like a safety one there.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, they kept it going, and up came your captain and Craig Najarian.
Craig Najarian had a big 2-out, 2-run single his last time up. He's 1 for 2. He's also bounced out to second.
Drove it right down the right field line drive.
He hits one again in the hole to right field, making the turn to third and heading for home is Baptiste. Here's the throw. It's too high, and he is hit safely.
Who's that scoring? Tom Borghese?
Najarian is down to second. And
Yeah, Tom Borghese.
That's Tom. Yeah. Oh, look at him going to third. Heads up play right there. Yeah, you can see Craig's competitiveness right there. He's a big time competitor, fiery at times, and just pretty good player.
Yeah, he was your captain along with Rob. So we're ahead 8-0, and as you say, Steve, nothing like getting out ahead. But you guys, you did not keep your foot off the pedal. You kept it going, and in the top of the 4th inning, Rob Pano led off with a single. He stole second and third. Matt Moriarty popped out, but then Steve DeBoer, you came up to the plate. Let's see what happened.
Hit it hard somewhere. That's what you're thinking of right now, or a fly ball.
Here's a ground ball to the right side. Castle can't go to the plate, had thoughts, flips on, and got him just in time. Joe Sarno, the second baseman, coming over to cover. Adam Castle had thoughts of coming to the plate to try to cut down Pano.
Gosh, I don't remember that. I twist my ankle or something.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. It looked like you hit the bag on the side there.
Yeah, pretty coordinated move there, but
Limping a bit after he had run by the bag.
Scored the run though. Got the run home.
Got the run in.
That's it.
You might have been on adrenaline there, Steve. Didn't remember.
No, it's funny. I don't remember a lot of this stuff. Oh, there it was. I don't remember a lot of this stuff with scores and players and counts and situations like that. But so this is kind of interesting.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of the reason too.
Looks like he rolled the right ankle slightly as he went by the bag, Dave.
Okay.
Really on the side of the bag.
Yeah, so that was a good inning. Now you're ahead 9-0. But Stoneham came back. They got 3 in the bottom of the 4th to make it a little interesting. And on the top of the 5th inning, Paul Baptiste singled. He stole second, went to third on the sacrifice bunt, and by Tom Borghese, and scored on a wild pitch to make it 10-3. So we're ahead 10-3 going to the bottom of the 5th. And here we have some of the crowd. You had your supporters there. At that point in the game, I assume people were feeling pretty well. You would think 10-3.
See some familiar faces there. Mr. Baptiste waving at the camera.
Yeah. We'll have to get his autograph later. Yeah. Thanks to him, we have this tape. Maybe that's why he gave it to me. I don't know. But at any rate, it was 10-3 going to the bottom of the 5th. But let's see what happens. Rob Pano walked their leadoff hitter, a shortstop by the name of Dave Tropiano. And the next hitter is their left fielder, Art Mazmanian. And the count was 1-0 on him. And let's see what happened at this point in the game.
Coming up next. Ball 3.
Here goes Bobby Poole out there to talk to Rob Pano. He might make a change. It looks like he's going to. Like DeBoer.
Calling you in, Steve.
Here he comes.
No golf cart running in.
No.
Steve pitched last Tuesday. So he's had 3 complete days rest, and he's normally had 5 days rest all year long. But I do believe Bob Poole would have liked to have made this move.
I do remember it was in the middle of a count coming in. I do remember that part. But you can see Robbie didn't want to come out. He was a real competitor too, and you can tell he didn't want to come out of the game. See, he's still talking about it, and that was just a lot of the guys had that same mentality of just being really competitive and not wanting to give in, and it served us so well.
Did you have an inkling, Steve, that he might call you in that early? Did you talk on the bench before that Rob went out to pitch that inning? Or it was like, you're out there and it's like, get in here.
I don't remember any conversation, but given how things played out in the previous games, there was probably a possibility that it could happen. And, like you said, that Keefe Tech game at the end of the game got called in, and I don't know if I was ready for it, but we got the call and here we go.
And here you went. And Stoneham would make it 10-5. They had men on first and third. It looked like they were making a run. And their second baseman, Joe Sano, stepped to the plate, trying to get it closer. And let's see what happened.
High on a roll. They are pumped up.
Big momentum shift in this game.
That one slapped foul on the right field side.
Now, DeBoer has been very effective this year, pitching ball games for Bob Poole's club. An unusual.
I think it's funny to look at how we wore the uniforms back then too, with the spaghetti stirrups and the tight pants.
Well, it was only 30 years ago.
1-1 pitch, chopped up the middle. The shortstop Samuel will make the play.
Nice double play.
Mitch was such a good player too, wasn't he, Mike?
Oh, yeah, very fast. I think he set the school record for stolen bases. And, solid shortstop, good hitter.
Yep. Super fast. Yeah, I remember that. Takes it himself.
Good stretch.
Yep.
First base by his teammate Matt Moriarty to keep his foot on the bag.
Yeah, that was a big play. They were coming back. He got the double play. Not only did he get the double play, but Adam Castle, who was on third base, stayed there. So just one of those moments. So that went your way, and then you got out of the inning. So that was a big play, really turning point in the game, because they were starting to make a comeback, but did not happen.
Pitcher's best friend right there. Double play ball, 1 pitch, 2 outs.
Yeah, that was a big one. So you're ahead 10-5, top of the seventh. You're still going. The foot is still on the pedal. With 1 out, Brian Cusson walked. He stole second on a pickoff attempt, and Paul Baptiste singled. So we got men on first and third, and let's see what happens.
Moving at first, they called for the pitch out, but nothing going. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There's those famous signs again.
When they hold the board that way, Ronnie, how could you possibly steal that signal? They have Baptiste hung up at the throw to the plate, and he is safe. Cusson beats the throw to the plate.
That's a beautiful play. It's a delayed steal from first base, and that's when you hold the board sideways, I guess. The throw over to first, so it's designed to draw the throw to first, as Thompson will do here. He's got him. He figures I'll pick him off. And it's designed as an automatic double steal.
No hesitation from Cuss there.
The old Pete Rose slide.
Yep, love it.
Brian, he could also run well. Brian.
Yes, he could. Yep. What did he play? Wide receiver in football, Mike?
Yes.
Yep, he was an athlete for sure.
Manufacturing a run once again by Westborough.
Okay, so Stoneham would get a couple in the bottom of the seventh to make it 11-7. But that was going to be it. And these tapes, unfortunately, we go to get the final out of the game, and somehow the tape didn't have it. We get to see the last out by an interview with your coach, Bob Poole. So let's see what Bob Poole had to say about the final out and the game.
Goes down easy, and they're a very good team.
What were your thoughts as that last ball bounced down to third?
I thought Paul took too much time getting the ball over to third, like an attorney. He double pumped, and actually I thought the play should have gone right to second base, and he's out of the inning without. But in any case, it seemed like a very long game. I know that Coach Seabury from our opponents must have felt like they were constantly trying to catch up. We felt like we were constantly trying to hold them off. They had no quit in them, and we played a real strong middle inning game.
Well, we were looking for the aggressive base running in this game. You get guys on board. We saw delayed steals. We saw squeeze plays, squeeze bunts, a lot of aggressive base running, and I thought that you had some very timely hitting in this game as well, Bob.
We really did. Paul Baptiste, if there's an MVP of the districts.
There's Coach Mason there. Can't believe it.
Two-run double in the 10th. And in the state semifinal game, he had a bases-loaded double late in the game to win it for us. And today, he played a great game.
Hit 4 more hits today. He was outstanding.
You lose track when you're coaching. But I remember he had a couple of big ones, and those are the ones that count. The other thing, too, is I thought Steve DeBoer, who is going to be an excellent pitcher, just through Tuesday night, 117 pitches. He came back today, and that wasn't the real Steve DeBoer, but he showed a lot of courage for a junior.
I imagine you did not want to bring him in the 5th. That we probably wanted to wait, maybe not use him at all, but he really hung tough for you.
We felt through the week that if we could get 6 out of Robbie and 3 out of Steve, that was where we wanted to be, and it just didn't. I pulled Robbie quick because he's had the flu, and I really felt he was weak. But, together they combined to give us what we came here for.
Bob, congratulations. Your team played an outstanding ball game. It's been a great season, and savor the championship.
We certainly will.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Dave.
Well, that's it. As you say, Steve, it had to be a great feeling. And there we go. There's the mob scene right there.
Yep.
And a great headline for Westborough. Westborough wins state title. And you must be, I don't know where you are, Steve, or Mike. You're probably on the bottom.
I'm in there somewhere. Maybe in the
I think I'm on the far left, like a partially cut off, and I see Steve
on the right side. Is that me?
Right above Matt Moriarty.
Yep.
Next to Fallon. Yeah.
Yep, Fallon.
There you are.
Yep. I got my big mouth open there.
Well, you deserve it. You guys earned it, and you did it. And let's see, what else do we have here that you got? There it is. You recognize that guy, Steve?
That's a cool one. It's funny. I think the year after at Christmas time, my mom, and I still have it, she made this framed picture, I guess, collage thing of a few of those pictures from the state championship, including that one. There's another one was in the telegram where Robbie Pano was kind of jumping over the pile, and then maybe that other one. And I still have it hanging in my man room. So she was smart to do that at the time. And I still have it all these years later.
Well, it looks like you could go out for the Olympic high jump there. Probably never jumped that high on your jump shots, but no, that was good. What do we have next here? And there they are. There's your captains, Rob Pano, Craig Nigerian, and the coach. Really the triumvirate that led the team between the co-captains and the coach. And they both had great years and were your co-captains, led you down the road.
Yeah, and that was a good group just as a whole. I thought, we had a lot of depth too. People like Mike didn't play every day, which is, a testament to the fact that we had so many good players, and it was tough to get in the lineup. But when, given the chance, people like Mike came through, or anybody else that was able to step in, and that depth really served us well. Like I said, the infield that we had was just so solid. Anybody that you plugged in the outfield was solid, and we see the results here. It's crazy to think about it all these years later.
Yeah, you had your leading hitters on that game, and were Mitch Samuel and Matt Moriarty, batting .378.
Yeah, look at that, Mike. You got a good archive too.
Yep.
Man, look at that.
Saved a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, does that jacket still fit you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good memorabilia. And I have, thank goodness to the Baptiste family, who really told me about the team and got me that book. There's a booklet I guess Coach Poole put together. I have the one for Paul Baptiste. Put it together. They gave me the tapes. So there's really a team effort here to get this together. You guys, the certificates, Good memories there. What else? There we go. That's the best team picture we have.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's right after the game, and you've got your championship game there. How about this signboard here?
I don't
know if it's in Chinese hieroglyphics or what it is. I know usually people go to the head, they go to the nose. They're doing all these gyrations.
Yeah.
What was the gyration here?
If you knew the sign, it was easy. If you were trying to figure it out, it was very tough. It was pretty simple. The white stripe. If you had a plus sign in the white stripe, that meant steal. If you had any solid shape in the white stripe, that meant bunt. So, other teams couldn't figure it out. They were looking at, how he was holding it, what order the colors, they were trying, overanalyzing it. So that's just what I remember.
Yeah, same thing. He'd turn them sideways and try and throw people off. But like you said, Mike, it really was very simple, and probably, a lot of what goes on now, I would guess, in maybe not necessarily baseball, but in sports, they probably are simplifying things in a similar way. I'm a bit of a purist myself. I don't know about you, Mike, but this is something I always thought wasn't part of the history of the game, but it certainly suited us very well over the years.
I remember I got so used to this sign system that when I played ball in Legion where they were using the other sign, I found it harder to pick up the signs. I got too used to this system.
Yeah.
So the yellow and the red you just ignored. It was just the white part of it.
So this sign he has in the background meant nothing. There's no plus or solid shape in the white. So that sign meant just hit away.
Then if you had the two pluses, it was double steal. If it was the solid shape and the plus, that was a squeeze, wasn't it?
Right.
Suicide
Bunt
squeeze,
and steal. Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, in the video footage you had on one of the plays, he had the double plus and the white. I don't know if you recall where, we got a steal of second and home.
No, if I tried to figure that out, I'd still be watching the tape. So some like that one there meant absolutely nothing. So people are trying to figure out nothing.
Yep. And then remember, Mike, too, he'd kind of call timeout and flip through. Yeah. And then hold something up and then make a big deal and then put it up.
Double steal.
And he's got that one sideways or different, but it does. So the way he held it had nothing to do with it. It's just the white part of the board.
No.
All right. Well, you got me confused, but how about getting home? I heard you had a bus ride. How'd that work? How did the bus rides work?
Yeah, I don't know who started the idea that every game we won, we would take a lap around the Rotary, but for every game that we won, we'd take a trip around. And the second game would be 2 trips, and then all the way at the end, it was 5 trips. Do you remember who started that, Mike?
I do not.
I don't either.
But I do remember quite well going around the Rotary after each game, the amount of times based on how many games, we were in the districts.
And I do remember at that last game, there were so many people that went to the Rotary and were waiting for us and, cheering and waving and, so many of the parents and some of our friends and classmates and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I could be wrong, but I want to say on the final game, we went around one extra time.
Oh, did we?
Because there were so many people there, 6 times. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you guys deserved it. And the Rotary is such a big part of Westborough. What better place to celebrate, really? Okay. Couple of things I noticed in the yearbook was and again, this was the senior class. The class clown was Rob Pano. Was he a clown?
I don't know if that's the right word, but he was a big personality and somebody who could stir the pot a little bit and get people riled up. And I remember him as being a really good leader and like I said before, competitor.
Well, that was your class clown. The other one, I don't know if I've ever seen this in a yearbook. The person prone to accidents, Mitch Samuel. I mean, he looked like Twinkle Toes McGree on that double play. I don't know how they got. Was he kind of like a Gerald Ford tripping over himself? Any memories on that one? No.
That's good. That's going to be probably from his classmates, I would guess. But in baseball, I don't remember any of that. I don't know about you, Mike.
Yeah, I don't recall him being injured a lot, but yeah, I'm not quite sure where that nickname came from.
Well, I guess you can't believe everything in a yearbook either. But anyway, that was in that yearbook. We have a picture here of Steve. Later on, I guess, Steve, you went to Brandeis. And,
I did.
Let's see where we got it here. There we go. You recognize that guy there, Steve? Or one of those guys anyway.
Yeah, that's me. Second from the right. I was lucky enough to go and play in college for 4 years. These four guys, or these other three guys, were my classmates. These were the seniors, senior year. And as I reflect back, probably that 1991 year was a year where maybe I got a little recognition and got recruited a little bit and ended up playing at Brandeis and had some success there. We went to the NCAA tournament a couple of times and never really won anything in the regionals, but it was a pretty successful program and competitive program in New England at the time. And just really lucky to have the opportunity to be able to go there. It's a great school. With a great group of people, people that I still talk with and I'm really friendly with. So, sports was able to allow me that opportunity. Baseball particularly has given me so much in my life that I'm really thankful for the opportunity to be able to go on and play and, meet these guys that are really special to me still.
And after Brandeis, what are we doing after Brandeis, or from the next few years? Number of years.
I worked a little bit. I finally went back to school and got my teaching certificate in 2001, and I was hired to teach at Westborough High School, and I've been there ever since. Coming to the end of my 20th year, so. I've been teaching history and social studies there for this is my 20th year. So I really haven't left Westborough. I don't live in town anymore, but I've stayed pretty local. My parents are still in town.
You can't get Westborough out of you. How about you, Michael? What happened after Westborough High?
I went to Providence College for 4 years, computer science degree. Really enjoyed it. I played a lot of intramural sports there. I was in the pep band. So really good years there. After college, I worked at a small software company in Westborough called Applix. So I started in customer support, and then I moved into quality assurance. And Applix eventually got bought out by IBM. So I've been with IBM since then. So that was around 2007, 2008. And I'm still at IBM. So I still test software and write software automation. As far as living, I lived in Westborough for a while when I got out of college. And I lived in Leominster from 2000 to 2008. And then I moved to Westminster. And I've been there ever since. So, and so I'm in Westminster, and I have 2 sons, and my oldest son is 19, younger is 17. And,
wow.
They both, Anthony graduated from Oakmont. Sean's still at Oakmont. As we remember, we played Oakmont in sports.
Yeah.
So my older son, Anthony, is also at Providence College as a freshman. So he's doing
cool.
well. Unique year with the COVID and all that, but he's there enjoying it. So yeah, everything's good.
Yeah. And Providence won the NCAA hockey championship a few years ago, Michael. So
2015. Yeah, that was awesome. Yep. Exciting game against Boston University. It was phenomenal.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on to show that we put Westborough on the baseball map of Massachusetts back in 1991. It's been 30 years. Glad you guys could make it. You had a great bunch of guys on that team, needless to say. Hopefully we went through all of them. They all had part in this team. They did a great job.
Yep.
So I want to thank you guys. Again, I want to thank Paul Baptiste and his family for getting me this information. Paul couldn't make the show today, but I want to thank all you guys and wish you the best. And you put Westborough on the map. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for doing this. It's nice to be remembered.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul.
Okay, guys. Well, this is Paul McGrath saying, I hope to see you at the game. And if you're not in the game, I hope to see you on the sidelines.